Are you live?
It's
Oh,
too
we're live.
late.
Okay.
It's too late. It's too late, Blake. All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a KC Sports Report live stream. I'm your host, Michael Darcy, and today I have the pleasure, as always, to be joined by my man, Blake Schneiders, who tonight
What's
is
going
going
on,
by
Michael?
Ginger Pants.
That is the name. It's Ginger Pants. Say it right.
Exactly.
What's going on, brother? How we doing today? I appreciate you bringing me on the stream for quite possibly the biggest game of the season with the Chiefs.
It's the biggest game of the season, and I'm glad that we could get our Schneider spotlight, our Schneider special, all those great names we could use. But honestly, bro, I'm really stressed because this is a game in which, I actually picked us to lose preseason. I had us dropping one game to the Chargers. I thought, coming off of that Raiders game on Sunday, a short week in Los Angeles, knowing the talent of Justin Herbert and that Chargers team, I thought we were going to lose that game. But this game is a must win. This game, if you do not win this game, you don't win the AFC West. It's
Yeah.
really that plain and simple. And it's really unfortunate because, when you're going up against a team like the Los Angeles Chargers, who I think are the fourth or the fifth seed in the AFC playoff picture if it all ended today. But if we do not win this game, we would move to the 5 seed. And the Chargers would hold the 1 seed, or they'd be first in the division. And at that point, they've got 2 tiebreakers over us, and the likelihood that we win, it's not very high. So this game is for the division. And like I was saying, it's really unfortunate that you're playing in such a big game, and you're going to be missing guys like Chris Jones and Willie Gay, who got out with COVID. L'Jarius Sneed, who is, I think, still recovering from the loss of his brother. And then Charvarius Ward, who has been spectacular this season. He's questionable to play with an illness, and it's not COVID, it's just an illness. So that's just a string of injuries and stuff that you really weren't planning on. And, Josh Gordon's another guy that we're not going to have in this game. But, the Chargers, they're going to be missing their starting left tackle in, what's their name? What's his name? Rashawn Slater, and Trey Pipkins is going to be his backup. So I think that it's probably a safe bet that we can get pressure, but what are your thoughts on the COVID outs and the injuries the Chiefs have right now?
Well, COVID is clearly sweeping the league right now. I know the last time I checked, this was 3 days ago. It was at 47 players all across the league, and I know that's jumped up at least another 10 players the last couple days. So obviously, everybody's getting the bug. Is it the flu? Is it actually COVID? Do we really know how to tell the difference? Whatever. At this point, people are getting illnesses and whatnot. So, and that's just the time of year it is. It's the time of year where people usually get sick anyway, whether it's with, the old.
It was called flu season before COVID existed.
Yeah, it was called flu season before COVID. So either way, this is always a dangerous time of year for teams in general. So. I think it also is kind of ironic that all of this comes, all these guys for the Chiefs especially are on the defensive side of the ball, the side of the ball that's been playing lights out. Number 6 in the league since week, 8? Mm-hmm. So I think it's just a little funny that the Chiefs were so bad on defense at the beginning of the year that the offense was doing really well. Then the defense decided to kick it into gear when the offense kind of was sputtering around. And now, in the biggest game of the season, the defensive side of the ball has got a couple holes in it. You're not going to have Charvarius Ward. You're not going to have L'Jarius Sneed. Well, those are your 2 best corners that you have. But what makes me – obviously, you're not going to have Chris Jones and Willie Gay and all them as well, and Josh Gordon, who has –
And we'll talk about that in a minute, because I would make the argument that Willie Gay's loss is almost bigger than Chris Jones. And I'm sure we'll talk about that. But
there's an argument to be made there, and we'll go into it. But I think I have a little bit of reassurance. I think after seeing Mike Hughes' performance last week, him coming up with some big plays. Now they were both turnovers on fumbles, but just that something small can get the mojo running so quickly in the game of football. You have something so small. Getting a fumble recovery, getting 2 fumble recoveries, getting a freaking touchdown. So that makes me more comfortable with Hughes, because he's going to get some playing. He's going to get obviously more playing time tonight. Yeah. You're going to have DeAndre Baker. You're going to have Rashad Fenton. So you've got guys that are going to be able to move around. Tyrann Mathieu's probably going to have to play more in the box. Dan Sorensen's unfortunately probably going to have to play a little bit more back safety than we normally would like to see him play. Mm-hmm. overall, though, I'm still like, I see a lot of Chiefs on Twitter. The Chiefs Twitter is, first of all, you either
Chaos.
love Chiefs Twitter or you hate Chiefs Twitter.
Yeah.
I love Chiefs Twitter fans just because I think it's so funny how quick the emotional roller coaster rides with the Red Kingdom. And I love all of you guys, whether you have great takes or absolutely atrocious takes. But I'm not quite as concerned about the defense not being able to stop the Chargers. I just hope the offense can come to play. The last time they played the Raiders before last week, we thought that they were back in gear. Then they really kind of sputtered the next 2 weeks. Then they looked back in gear again with the Raiders. Is this finally them kicking over a new, turning over a new leaf? Is this finally them saying, "Hey, we feel comfortable with our scheme. Maybe we had to change it up a little bit, but we're now going to feel a little bit more comfortable." So I'm not having as much worry as I think Chiefs Twitter is kind of shitting their pants right now.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling pretty confident.
Well, I think there's reason for concern because, the offense hasn't been that good for the past 5 or 6 weeks, and the defense is carried. And, this is the game in which the offense, which basically has won you every game before this season from 2018 on, we need to see this offense come out and win the game. This is a Patrick Mahomes statement game. You've got to see this offense click. I mean, we saw it against the Raiders, but again, is it just the Raiders? Is it just because the Raiders are so bad? Like, I don't know.
That's the question.
And tonight is the perfect night to find out because the Chargers' rush defense is horrible. One of the worst in the league.
Yes.
And the Chargers have some guys that are questionable too. Derwin James, he's questionable.
Yeah.
Austin Eckler had like a knee or an ankle injury. He's questionable.
He's questionable. Mike Williams, I believe, is questionable as well.
I think a lot of them are going to play, though, but they're not going to be at full strength.
No, I think that both teams have kind of got the injury bug late. And really, like I said, it's across the league. It's not just a team-by-team thing. It is pretty much every team right now. I mean, hell, if you look at the Ravens squad, they've been injury prone the entire year. I mean, there's teams all over the place that have problems. I think when it comes to Chiefs game plan, like you said, the Chargers have a horrific rush defense. The Chiefs, and I have been grandstanding, I've been on my soapbox since week 1 of preseason that Derek Gore is the best number 3 running back in the entire NFL. It's a fact. You're not going to sway me. Nobody's going to be able to argue with me. Commenters in the comments section, go ahead, because I have been on my soapbox about Derek Gore. Oh, not to mention Clyde Edwards-Helaire is looking fantastic right now. His vision last week was impeccable. Not to mention Darrell Williams is looking like a 2009 Matt Forte on us. Being able to catch the ball out of nowhere, just like, what?
Okay, so get this. I was watching some film last night because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I need something to do. So I started watching the film slow down about that last game against I think it was against the Broncos. There was a play in which Darrell got open in the flat, right? And you could see Pat looking at him. And then Darrell, without Pat pointing or anything like that, broke off downfield and got behind the linebacker in between the safety. And he got 30 yards on that catch. Like, Darrell is becoming a really good receiving back for this team. And I think tonight, I want to see them target Clyde in the flats. I want to see them go after Derek Gore and get some of those guys involved in the passing game, because I don't think we've really seen Derek Gore catch passes, but I think he's capable of doing it.
Oh, we've actually seen quite a bit of it. It's just usually in junk time, or we had a lot in preseason. The guy catches. I mean, I don't believe. I think he might have had one drop pass, depending on how they scored it. I believe he got thrown one to the flat one time. That was just it was just kind of a wonky pass. I don't know if he was able to haul it in, but he's caught quite a few screen passes. He displayed that he could definitely catch the ball in preseason for sure. The game where I think he had something like 100-something yards. He caught quite a few passes. So, but really what I was getting at with that is the Chiefs, I think, for the first time in a while, have developed a 3-headed monster in the backfield. And all guys can do something different. Derek Gore doesn't run the same as Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire does not lower the boom like Darrell Williams. But Darrell Williams can also catch the pass out of the backfield. It's a very odd combination of guys who all can do something very good in different skill sets that each one has a different complementary skill set to the other one. Clyde has great vision. Clyde knows when to get certain plays. Darrell knows how to catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's going to be your bruiser and goal line guy. Derek Gore's kind of a little bit of everything. He can catch the ball a little bit. He's got great vision. He can run when he needs to. He's a very smart football player.
Mm-hmm.
If I was the Chiefs, I'm getting Trey Burton lined up. I'm getting Travis Kelce and Blake Bell on the line, and I'm running the shit out of the ball all day. I want to see 250, 275 rush yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. Patrick doesn't need to be throwing the ball all over the field because guess why? The longer you keep the ball in the Chiefs' possession, the less time Justin Herbert has to try to beat the Chiefs, which is the only way they're going to beat you is on offense. They're not going to beat you on defense.
Yeah. That's a good point. I don't think that you can rush for 275. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think you could rush for 250. I think the best thing you could do, and I think Clyde had 100 in the first matchup, just go after Clyde in the beginning. Give him some quick handoffs, give him some design plays, maybe not an HB draw, but, I wish they would incorporate like a pitch or an end around or, just a nice little jet sweep. Because they've jet sweeped in the before, but it's like they do it once and then they just get away from it when it's really your most effective rushing play. I don't know why you don't do it more, but I think Clyde could rush for 100 yards and Mahomes could still throw for 300 or 400. But I think that what they need to do is they need to show that they're going to run the ball early, and then once the cover two, once those guys start to creep back into the box because they're not throwing the ball. That's when you start to throw the ball. That's when Travis Kelce, who has been a Charger killer. Travis Kelce has owned the Chargers. And Tyreek Hill, I'm not saying that deep pass is going to be open, but, maybe hit Tyreek Hill for a slant. I mean, the middle of the field's been open, but until the Chargers see that we can run the ball, they're going to continue to play cover 2, and they're not going to change anything from their game plan. So run the ball, and at that point, you got to kind of see what the defense is giving you.
Well, and I think it's kind of falling into a perfect storm where, and shout out to we've got a local celebrity and local legend in the chat, Lucas Murphy. I'm gonna quote something for Lucas Murphy. I hope the Chiefs start biting off kneecaps because he thinks I'm such a damn Lions fan, and you know what? I am a Lions fan because I never want a team to go 0-17. Okay, I would never.
I wanted the Lions to win. I love Dan Campbell.
I've been wanting the Lions to win. They've been this close to winning all. There we go. That close to winning all year on different games. Hell, it took a record-breaking 66-yard field goal to beat them from Justin Tucker, one of the greatest kickers of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's for you, Lucas Murphy. I had to shout that out. Also, by the way, you're definitely repping Chargers gear with the blue and yellow right now, my guy. So
I wanted to address that really quickly.
That's a technical foul.
Really quickly, I wanted to address
flag
this.
On the play.
It's a Royals shirt. But at the same time, I probably shouldn't be wearing the Royals shirt either because the Royals are just bona fide losers. So maybe maybe that was a mistake.
Do you even cover Kansas City sports? The Royals are the best team in the world. Yeah. Anyway, like I was saying, I think this is kind of a perfect storm because now that Patrick seems to understand how to play against cover 2, which he probably never got a lot of until this year, and it seems to be really that had been the thorn in his side. But now that I think last game they really started putting together underneath routes, underneath passes, getting just a little dinks and dunks, and he dinked and dunked his way for 20 of 24 last week with 250, 260 yards. So I think if they can start doing that, you're going to have to Let me back up. If you're going to start running the ball, they're going to have to start stacking the box. They're not going to be able to start playing cover 2 because they're going to have to bring a safety down if the Chiefs are successful. So it's the running the ball is ultimately going to pull them out of cover 2, which is going to open up more pathways for Patrick Mahomes to find the seams, to find to find the verticals, to find the crossing routes, to find the digs. So if they can run the ball effectively, it will actually help in negating that cover 2 defense that the Chargers are most likely going to play because every team has been playing that.
I've been under this impression for a long time now because cover 2 wasn't something the Chiefs had never seen before they got to the Super Bowl. They saw cover 2. You've got to have the personnel to run cover 2. And do the Chargers have it? I'm not sure. Derwin James might not play, but even if he does, he's not going to be healthy. The Chargers do not have the defensive personnel to play successful cover 2 against this Chiefs offense. Now, the question's going to be, and it always comes back to this now, are the Chiefs going to take care of the ball? Are the Chiefs going to find a way to hold on to it and not turn it over? Are the Chiefs going to catch passes? And if they can do that, I think they're going to win this game. But if they can't, Because remember, that first game against the Chargers, they moved the ball. They moved the ball every single drive, but it always resulted in them fumbling it or giving it away, and that's why you couldn't put up points. And you still had a chance for Patrick Mahomes to come out and win that game.
Yeah, I was at that game, Michael, and let me tell you, that was maybe one of the most disappointing games that I've been to in a while. Just based on the fact that we should have won that game many different ways, and it still came down to the final, and the Chiefs just didn't handle it properly and turned the ball over constantly. Problem with the Chiefs is they have the most drop passes in the entire NFL. I believe it was last time I checked, it was 28. It might be even more after last week's game. I think it might be up to 31. It's not good. This is a rare thing for the Chiefs to have happened even really in the Alex Smith era. There was that whole year where they didn't have a touchdown to a wide receiver, but that's besides the point. Where you kind of look at the Chiefs, dropped passes at such a high rate has never really been a big issue. I remember when Travis Kelce first came into the league, he had a few hiccups with a couple drop passes here and there, and that was really kind of his big gripe from the fans' perspective. But other than that, there really hasn't been. This is a team-wide issue. It's not just a Travis issue. It's not just a Tyreek issue. It's a team-wide issue. So I think it's one of those things that this is one of those things about football that plagues teams, but it's something that you can't really explain. Like sometimes a whole team gets injured. Sometimes a whole team gets the yips. Sometimes your defense just doesn't know how to tackle ever. Even though you've got stars on your defense, they just can't tackle. So it's one of these weird, almost football mysticisms that just happens to teams. And unfortunately, it's caught the Chiefs this year. Hopefully they can kind of they've been doing a decent job of each game trying to do less and less the past few games, but it still is pretty blatant that, hey, guys are dropping the ball on routine passes. I don't know how you fix that. Again, I don't know how you fix that. Yeah. I remember when I played in college, I had the yips for a while, where all of a sudden you're catching everything, and then the next day you can't catch anything. I don't know. It's really hard on how do you fix that, because it's not something, sometimes you overthink it, which makes you start dropping passes even more. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where I think you just have to catch that rhythm back in and forget the last play. You have to almost have amnesia or dementia when you're out there on the football field. You got to pull the old. Yeah, I'll stay away from the Joe Biden references, but you gotta have a short-term memory, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Interesting reference there. But yeah, I mean, I agree, and I don't know if it's the yips, because they make plays, but then there's just like instances in which it just doesn't happen, because like some of the instances in which Tyreek Hill drops the ball, it's just like, well, did you know the ball was coming to you? Like, because there was times where it would hit off his hands, and it would hit to the point where it's like a fly ball. Like all you got to do is get under it. And I don't know if that's something that it's just in their head, or they're just because honestly, there were a couple of those throws that Mahomes could have made better, but it's not all on Mahomes. It's not all on Mahomes.
And he himself has had kind of an odd year with balls that he was either throwing in the dirt or just wasn't accurate. And again, I think this is all just kind of comes back to, this is the first year where he's had the most adversity. Nobody's figured out Patrick Mahomes. That's not something anybody's ever going to do. That just doesn't happen. Like, I remember everybody's been like, oh, did they figure him out? Did they figure him out? Is he finally not? No, the dude is still the most elite quarterback that I've ever watched step on the field. All right? There's two guys
you can never figure out greatness.
You can't.
There's a reason why Tom Brady is still an MVP candidate this year. You can't figure it out.
You can't figure out greatness. Nobody. Yeah. You can hinder greatness.
Put that
for
on
a little while. You can capture greatness for a brief moment, but it doesn't last long. So no, it's all just rhythm and timing, and you can see it too. It's like a cog in a machine. The cogs right now are not well oiled. They're not just melding with each other. They're almost catching. They're catching on each other. But just wait, because they're just a little bit off. You give them that time where they finally all click, because you can feel it. They're right there. So I'm not, tonight I'm not worried. I think the offense is actually going to come out firing on all cylinders, knowing that the defense is going to need their help.
I hope we see it, because, I've been under the impression that the defense was the major problem. And once you fix that, I mean, I've always been under the impression that the offense would figure it out. This is, an offense that has one of the greatest offensive masterminds of all time coaching it in Andy Reid. You have, if not the most talented quarterback to ever play the game of football in Patrick Mahomes. You've got one of the best tight ends of all time. You have arguably the best wide receiver in Chiefs history, and for sure a top 5 wide receiver in the game. They're going to figure it out. Like that has never been the issue. The problem was the defense was giving up 35 points a game, and your offense was still trying to figure it out. Now your defense has turned into a defensive juggernaut. I'm not sure how it happens. They're going to have to make a documentary about it in the offseason because they've turned into the 2000 Ravens defense, dude. Overnight. They went from being the worst to, if you did not start off as one of the worst defenses in NFL history, you would easily be a top 3 defense statistically right now.
Well, and I don't know a time, at least in my lifetime, that I can remember that a team started off so poorly on defense, being the 29th, 30th, 31st worst defense, and then going to a top 7, top 6 team. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's ever happened, and feel free, the football aficionados that we've got in our chat here, feel free to, if you guys have some teams, throw them out. But I don't remember a team starting at the bottom of the barrel for not just week 1 and week 2, but until week 6, 7.
It was like week 7 until they turned
and then all of a sudden flipping the switch and being one of the best in the league. In the last 4 out of the last 6, 5 out of the last 6 games, you've held the teams to single-digit points. You've had 3 straight games with 9, 9, 9. And no, I'm not speaking German. I'm saying fucking 9 points, baby. Like, what? That is almost unheard of. And it's a swagger thing. Yeah. We got our swagger back, as Travis Kelce likes to say. It really is. Defense is a swagger side of the ball. Offense is very more chemistry, schematically. Defense is all about how you feel when you're out there on the field. If you look good, you play good. If you play good, you feel good. And those boys are playing good, and they're feeling great.
Yeah. Like at this point, because, you're missing 4 or 5 defensive starters at this point. I don't think that we're going to hold the Chargers offense, even with those 5 players, to under 20 points. The Chargers are a really good offense. But I think that you can hold them with the players that you're missing to like 24. And 24 points in the NFL. If you give up 24 points with this offense, there is no excuse to lose a football game. In my mind, with this offense and the weapons you have and the coach you have and the quarterback you have, when you have all of that in your advantage, there is no reason as to why you should lose this game. This is, in my opinion, the biggest game the Chiefs have played in a long time now. And we've always been an offensive team. This has been a team that has gotten to a Super Bowl. They've been to 2 Super Bowls because of the offense. Your defense has finally stepped up. They finally climbed the mountain. They're there now. And your offense isn't there now. We need Patrick Mahomes to say, hey, it's our time, kind of like the defense did in like week 7 or week 8. It's our time to pull our weight. And I think that, this could be the game because, now that I'm thinking back at it, we saw some of the best Chiefs games, I would argue, in Chiefs history when Patrick Mahomes was out in 2019. We had to see a team win. This is going to be the most team win that we're going to see this season.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I remember back to that Packers game where he wasn't in there and I'm sorry.
It was Matt Moore. It was Matt Moore.
It was Matt freaking Moore.
Exactly.
Put the team on his back, though. Put the team like a backpack on his back.
They didn't win that game. They didn't.
No, I know they did it. They did it. They ended up losing by 3 points, 2 points, 3 points.
Maybe it was a touchdown, but it was
really
a
margin.
Close.
It was close. It was a margin. But I remember that game. I remember back to the initial game where he got ended up dislocating his kneecap on the most freak accident I've ever seen happen in sports. So we've seen the Chiefs team rally, and they do a very good job of it. I think because there is that team chemistry. They've had the same team for the last 3 years. It's the same guys. They all know each other. They know each other's wives. They know each other's kids. The chemistry of wanting every player to do better, be the best they can, and helping each other become the best player they can. That speaks volumes. And I think tonight is a game you're going to see that.
I want to give a shout out to Aaron who copped a pair of the hoodies. So I will definitely be paying attention to that, Aaron. But I also appreciate all the work that you do around here as a chat mod because we used to have like 200, 300 people in here at once, and we get a bunch of like spam fans and stuff like that. And having one dude just take care of all of that is so refreshing.
What is you're gonna have to refresh my memory. What's a spam fan? Like they would just like comment crazy shit or what?
Yeah, like dude. I've seen some crazy things.
Well, you need to, chat moderator. You need to kick out this guy. He goes by the name Lucas Murphy. I don't know. He keeps talking about the Lions, bro. Make sure he's not in. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, but getting back to this game, because we could talk about chat mods all day, because that's interesting to me. But getting back to this game, I think that when you're looking at it from a perspective of attrition and who's there and who's not, the Chargers obviously had that advantage. If both of these teams were going up and they had everybody playing, the Chiefs would win. The Chiefs are by far and away a better football team. It's not even that close. But with all these injuries and COVID situations the Chiefs are facing, they're going to have to rise above that. And who in your mind is going to have a good game in order to propel this Chiefs team to a victory?
I think it comes down to two people, and they're both on the defensive side. Okay. I think it's going to come down to Frank Clark.
The Shark
Clark. I think Melvin Ingram has been a huge jolt of electricity for this defense. And him on the edge, we've seen him be electric the past couple of weeks. And Frank got his last week as well. But I think Frank is going to have to step up tremendously this week because the lack of not having Chris Jones in the middle. You got to be able to get pressure on Justin Herbert. He is the number one guy. I also think the second guy is Tyrann Mathieu. I think Tyrann Mathieu needs to. It's not that he's played bad at all this year. He hasn't. He's just played
quiet. I would say
quietly. Yes, he's put together very quietly a good season, but he hasn't had a whole lot. I mean, like last week he got a fumble recovery. He's put together some good things, but I want to see some explosion tonight. I want to see him put Austin Eckler on his ass because they're going to be throwing the ball out of the backfield to those guys, especially like you said. The Chiefs don't have Willie Gay. They don't have that guy who can cover linebackers very well. Nick Bolton, that's not really the style of linebacker he is. He is a downhill
runner guy.
Beat you up at the line, handle the run game with ease. Mm-hmm. But that side-to-side lateral quickness from Willie Gay was a great compliment to him. You're not gonna have that this time. Now you have to rely on guys like Ben Neiman. You're gonna have to rely on guys like Anthony Hitchens, who are definitely a notch below on the speed spectrum. So I think Tyrann Mathieu and maybe even Dan Sorensen, I'm not really sure what they're going to have him doing this week, but they might have him cover some of the running backs because, he's obviously a little bit faster than some of the linebackers. But I think Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark have to show up. Obviously, yes, Mike Hughes has to play. Obviously, Rashad Fenton's got to play. Obviously, you need DeAndre Baker to play well. But I mean, yes, Thornhill as well because he's going to be covering that deep third back end. But I think Tyrann and Frank have to show why they are some captains on this team. I don't know if Frank Clark's still a captain on the team, but I know obviously Tyrann is. So I think they have to come out and just set the tone early. I mean, excuse me for all the
You're good.
You're good. Somebody up in the first drive. I don't even care if it's necessarily I don't even necessarily care if it's borderline penalty or whatnot. But dude, go out there and just fuck somebody up the first drive and set the tone for the rest of the game. This is going to be a drag out game. Yeah, we're missing 4 or 5 guys on the defensive side, but we got some dogs, man, and let's go eat.
It's probably going to come down to defense too, and I trust our defense in this situation. And it's funny because I wanted to talk about Willie Gay and the Chris Jones loss because I could make the argument, and I think I will. Losing Willie Gay and the sideline-to-sideline speed and all that he does in both coverage and in stopping the run, that's really big. And you can make the argument that Chris Jones has been the most dominant defensive player that this Chiefs team has had, and for sure one of the most dominant in the NFL. But when you really think about it, sure, he supplies the pressure, but when you have a guy in Justin Herbert who's just going to be sitting back there and looking for his running back in the flat, Willie Gay is on that guy.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be there. And, Nick Bolton, I kind of brushed under the rug his coverage in my 3 a.m. film study last night. I was watching it in slow motion. He is horrible in coverage. He is abysmal in coverage.
All right, so let me ask you this.
Yes.
And he was getting a lot of hate at the beginning of the year because people said, "Oh, he's too slow. Oh, he can't drop in coverage. He's not versatile." Would you rather have a guy who is an expert at blitzing, or not, maybe not blitzing necessarily, but playing the run and shooting the gap
Yeah.
and not being able to cover at all? Or would
Oh,
you rather have a
I've
guy, who's decent at playing the run and decent at playing the pass? Or would you rather have a guy that's a phenomenal at playing the pass but can't stop the run with shit?
I've been on this train for a long time. I think Nick Bolton is a phenomenal rookie. I think Nick Bolton is a phenomenal rookie. And I would not trade Nick Bolton for anybody else because I think that his ability to stop the run is something this defense has lacked for years.
For years.
Dare I
Literally
say, until
years.
Derek Johnson. That's the last dude that could stop the run.
Yes.
Nick Bolton has been that guy. And I do not regret picking him whatsoever. Just pointing out in coverage, he's not great. But he doesn't have to be in coverage. Hopefully, that shouldn't be where he is at next year. He should be the Mike, and he should never have to be in coverage. Yes. But that's not the case right now. You're going to probably have Anthony Hitchens as your middle linebacker. I would say, would you put Nick Bolton as your will tonight? And then...
Well, I don't know. It kind of depends. I mean, who's better in coverage? I would say Anthony is still better in coverage than Nick Bolton. So I think you put Anthony on the strong side, Nick in the middle, and you're probably going to have Neiman as your weak side, or you're going to be running a lot of nickel. So,
and you know what I noticed is that they were dropping Dan Sorensen back in coverage in that Broncos game a lot more, and they didn't target it, but you also got to think about it. It's Teddy Bridgewater. Justin Herbert will massacre this defense if Dan Sorensen is starting up at the line and dropping back every single time. A player that I think is going to be pivotal, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, but the chat was talking about it. Juan Thornhill has been exceptionally good when he came in for Dan Sorensen. He's been great in the running game, but also him playing the deep safety. That's allowed Tyrann Mathieu, who in that Raiders game, I believe, played nickel like the majority, or slot, maybe played in the slot the majority of the time.
Hey, and weirdly enough, I'm okay with that because he excels tremendously in that spot because not only is he a danger in the flat, he can cover the running backs, but he can also blitz off the edge very well.
And I agree.
Mathieu is a very underrated blitzer. Now, granted, that means you have to put Dan Sorensen in coverage.
Yeah.
So something you don't want to do.
But having Juan Thornhill as the backside guy and covering deep, that's allowed you to put Tyrann Mathieu in the box and have him as a slot and have him as a nickel. Like, if you did not have Juan Thornhill playing at such a high level, I mean, maybe that's why Tyrann Mathieu's not having all these interceptions that he's had in years prior, because he's playing up in the box more.
No, I agree tremendous. Now, so I'm using my phone, obviously, so I can't really operate on it. I saw somebody in the chat say that Ward was active. I know he was not out with the COVID. He was out with an unrelated COVID illness. Is he active or is he not active? Is the chat just blowing smoke up my ass?
This comment says Ward's active ? So I mean, he's active on the team. I don't think that he's like, because they're not gonna. I mean, hold on, I'll check really quickly. I don't think he'll.
Okay, I don't know. I just saw that, and I didn't know if we had missed an update, a late update, or anything.
I mean, it's very good to know if he's going to play.
Shout out to your chat, bro. Your chat gets fucking popping, and I love it. Shout out to you guys.
The chat.
You guys are the real heroes out here, chat. I'm looking at you, Super Bowl champion out there. I'm looking at you, Aaron Morrow. Obviously, you're the moderator, so you're doing your thing. Tristan,
Lucas Murphy,
the absolute local legend, Lucas Murphy.
Yes.
Shout out to that guy, Dr. Sanitary 43. All you guys out there. I know there's more of you guys, but you guys are
Marlon's
awesome.
always here. Yeah,
I appreciate you guys commenting because you guys make this even more fun.
It's like a text line. If we're on the radio.
You know what? How about this? You guys follow Barstool Sports? This is for you guys. Little Pink Whitney action. I'm gonna do this on the stream for you. All right. Cheers, boys.
This is the exclusive content that we get from Mr. Blake Schneiders that we would not get from me. Let's go. You hammered that back.
Let's go, baby.
You're ready to roll tonight. But
I also got the natties because not all Saturdays are for the boys, but Thursdays can be too.
Exactly. So, we kind of talked about the defense in this game. Offensively, I think that There's a lot of guys Patrick Mahomes could go to. In your mind, who is the number one option tonight, and who is going to have the majority of the offensive snaps? Or I'm reading Lucas's computer.
I know, dude.
But who's going to have the majority of the production?
I'm a huge Lions fan, bro. I'm a huge Lions fan, apparently. And Lions fans only drink Pink Whitney, so
exactly. They've been drinking too much Pink Whitney. But who in your mind is going to have the most offensive production tonight?
Man, I think it's tough. So, like I said, I think the running backs are going to get a whole lot of work. So it just really kind of depends on what they're doing. I'd like to say Travis gets in the mix because last game he was kind of just not. Actually, really the last two games he's kind of been just very quiet. He hasn't really gotten a whole lot of things. So, if I had to pick, I would say this is either going to be a game for Clyde where Clyde goes off, or this is going to be a game for Travis.
Mm-hmm.
I think those two guys are going to get a bulk of because again, I think the game plan for the Chiefs is going to be to like methodic drives down the field, like Hank Stram said,
matriculate
the ball down the field. Which, just a side note for all you chatters out there, the word matriculate doesn't actually mean anything to do with football. And the fact that he used it incorrectly and it's now become a thing, like, I think it's hilarious. It actually means to enroll into college, which
I matriculated earlier this semester.
Yeah, there you go. See,
exactly.
I dematriculated, if that's a word, just a few years ago.
Unmatriculated? Is that the unmatriculated? Or
dematriculate? I don't fucking know. I didn't graduate.
It's like a past tense.
I graduated, but I didn't go to school for literary purposes. I went for sports broadcasting, which they don't do that MLA format. They do sports writing, which is way more lax. So
exactly. And
they're not grammar Nazis.
You're putting all of your skills to the test tonight on this live stream in front of everybody else. And that's why you went to college, so you could be right here, right now, talking about this game.
Exactly. I went to college to get more knowledge, baby.
Exactly. Hey, you taught me the matriculating thing. I had no clue. I thought he was using it right the whole time.
Yeah, no, totally means nothing to do. Like, he totally means nothing to do with football, and he used it very incorrectly. But it's an iconic line, and it forever will be used in the game of football. You almost hear. I swear to God, you hear fucking Chris Collinsworth. I hate that motherfucker. I hate Chris Collinsworth.
Really?
With a passion, dude. He sucks.
Really?
He sucks.
I love Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth. Al Michaels is the GOAT. Al Michaels is goated.
Al Michaels is forever already. Like, there's nothing you can say about Al Michaels. He's a GOAT. He is in the Hall of Fame. He is goddamn Chris Collinsworth. If you don't shut the dude. I hate Chris Collinsworth, dude. He just sucks.
My gosh.
And what's funny is, like, so I know we're getting, like, off track at this point.
No, you're good.
But so my girlfriend watches all the games, obviously, and I like, she was always a big Chiefs fan, but, like, obviously me doing this job, she's learned a ton about football. I have gotten her on the I hate Chris Collinsworth bandwagon, and so now anytime Chris Collinsworth says shit, she goes, "Oh my God, shut the fuck up, Chris Collinsworth." But I don't know if she actually knows why she's saying that.
She's just going along with him.
She's just annoyed at his voice at this point.
Honestly, like, I like Chris Collinsworth, and I don't know why. I mean, I can see why you find him annoying. He's kind of he's too excited, and sometimes it comes off as, like, fake, I guess you could say.
You know me, buddy. I'm all about the energy. I don't care about the energy. I just think that sometimes he says stuff that just doesn't, like, it's almost like filler. Like, it doesn't make any sense. He just says it because that's what announcers say. And I'm like, Chris, shut up. Or have an original opinion, Chris. Well, my name's Chris Collinsworth, and the way I feel about it. Shut up.
I feel like Chris Collinsworth is doing the Madden's, like, the soundtrack. He's just, like, rehearsing it in his head, and you could literally apply what he says in every single game the same time.
Yes,
and it's the Madden soundtrack.
And you know what? Maybe that's what it is, because he's on Madden.
Yeah, he is.
And I hate him on that. Maybe that's where, you know what? Maybe you're a therapist.
Did I just solve your problems?
I think you solved it. I hate what he does on Madden, and I think that translated out to what he does on the actual game, on the actual broadcasts now. So my
would you
hate is just
say that
misplaced.
you're losing in Madden has transformed into a hatred for Chris Collinsworth?
Hold on. Who the fuck said I was losing in Madden?
I did.
I'm a stud when it comes to Madden. All right.
Okay, but you've never like rage quit and you heard Chris Collinsworth go 9 a touchdown by this so and so player. That's never happened to Mr. Cedars.
I don't usually rage quit. I lose with grace. I'm not one of these guys who like quits if I'm losing, like, oh fuck it, or like tries to like get out of the game and then replay it and then like want to win. Like I'm true to the art of
if you lose,
football.
you lose. Yeah. Okay.
If I lose, I lost because I wasn't adequately prepared.
True sportsmanship. Like that's how you lose with grace.
And I usually lose because I start just like getting in this routine of like I just start picking the same 7 plays over and over and over again, and I'm like not actually reading the defense, and that's when I start losing, and I'm like, son of a.
All you need to do is run the pitch with a good running back and hit that edge, and you're gone.
Side note, your favorite announcer of all time? Go.
Any sport? Like what are we talking about?
Well, the chat is either shitting on Joe Buck or loving Joe Buck.
No, I think that they're against Joe Buck.
Now. No, they all hate him.
Okay, good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't get the hatred for Joe Buck. He's not great.
See, I really don't either. I don't really know where it came from. It's not that I think Joe Buck is great. I just don't know where the whole fuck Joe Buck came from. So
Royals fans are like, he wants this team to. I was like, what? I don't remember that.
I mean, like, yeah, there's a lot of guys. Maybe it's because he's a homer. Maybe he's a homer. Maybe he just talks about it. Aaron said Harry Carey. Hey, I'm Harry Carey. Guys, let me tell you something about baseball, okay? Baseball's the stuff. And the Cubs, greatest team that ever existed. That's my
I'm not gonna lie.
Harry Carey impression.
I think on the Mount Rushmore of sportscasters, I think, I go back and forth. I love Jim Nantz. I think Jim Nantz is very good at what he does. Because, you hear him in the March Madness. You hear him on football. He does the Masters too. Like, not that I watch the Masters, but like he just has that iconic voice that, you just hear. And it's a very warm, it's a warm voice, if that makes any sense.
I think my favorite announcers have to be. Well, it's hard because we're doing personalities on TV typically.
Yeah.
Radio sometimes if we're talking Harry Carey and whatnot, but I believe that Kevin Harlan
very good
is
too.
Probably one of the best of all time. I just the energy that he brings, the knowledge he brings is crazy. I also am and some people don't like him, some people do like him. I'm a huge Mitch Holthus fan. I like that Mitch Holthus breathes football for the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Like he's tasting the sweet nectar of something every fucking day. I promise you that. So, I love Mitch Holthus because he has energy in his voice. He's kind of raspy with it, but he's first down. Like he just gets into it so well. I love Mitch Holthus. It looks like the chat. Let's see. Chat. I also love Tony Romo. Yeah, you guys mentioned Tony Romo. I'm a big Tony Romo guy because he actually does it as if he's teaching all of the viewers something every time.
And people get mad at that. And
no, I'm like, dude, I love when you like you teach something that the average fan doesn't know. And I think people don't like Rex Hudler because of this, but I like Rex Hudler because Rex can explain it to you as if you were a 25-year vet. He can also explain it to you as if you're a 7-year-old kid. And he goes back and forth between the two. And he explains
sometimes he mixes them together.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like the guys who want to explain the game because that's really what you're doing. If you have somebody that's explaining the game to you, I think the guys that don't like that are the guys that think they know everything about football or baseball or whatever the sport is, and that's fine. You think you know everything, that's cool. Go suck a fucking dick. But
and I'll tell you what, Tony Romo knows a little bit more than you do.
Oh yeah, but see, Tony will teach you shit you would never have known.
Yeah, I mean that's something that you would only know if you're a quarterback. But I mean, I guess if you played football and you knew how to dissect defenses, but Anyway, getting back on the
sorry
topic.
about the tangent.
No, that was much needed. I now know that you hate Chris Collinsworth. I never knew that because I
fucking hate Chris Collinsworth.
I like me some Chris Collinsworth here or there, but I would also never put him over like Michaels or any of the greats.
No. I wouldn't even put him over John Madden because John Madden said the craziest things ever. John Madden, I was playing a game of Madden one time, and I don't know if John Madden actually said this on real television, and then they had to put it in the game or what. But John Madden one time said that guy, and I think I believe Dodgeball stole this quote from him or something, but he said that guy couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. And that
I think I remember that.
That
is
was like the most insane. Like,
dang, that one hurts.
That's a piercer, man.
Yeah, that one. I think
he was talking about a defensive player. He's like, that guy couldn't hit water. He fell out of a boat.
Gotta love John Madden. But we got about 15 minutes left. What are your predictions for this game, Mr. Schneiders?
Predictions for the game: the Chiefs 1,000, Chargers 0.
Okay.
No,
with that being said, guys,
no.
We just end it right
there. Good show, guys. And that's a wrap. No. I think it's going to be a good game. It's really weird. The Chargers are just the last time the Chiefs saw the Chargers is not the same Chargers team that the Chiefs are seeing now. I think they've gotten worse on defense, but I think they've gotten better on offense with the adage of Austin Eckler, of course. So I think it's going to be a decent game. I think the Chiefs defense gives up more points than they have in any of the last 6 games. I think they're going to give up 23 points. Do I want them to? Fuck no. But do I think they might? I think they are. I think it's going to be 31-23.
It's interesting.
No. Not 31. That's a bad score.
34.
34-23. There you go.
I think
the Chiefs win by 11.
If we drop 30 points, I'll be thrilled. I will be really happy because at that point, like, we're going to have that conversation if the offense is finally back. You drop 48 against the Raiders. If you drop 35, they're back.
This is the game that you do that in. If your defense is lacking, your offense has to step up.
But even with the defense lacking, they're not going to give up 30 points. I refuse to believe that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a game in which the defense is going to have to make more stops than the Chargers defense. And I would bet a lot of money that's going to be the case. And it's because our defense is just better, even with all the injuries. But I also think that, we've talked about this over and over and over again. If you don't turn over the ball, you'll win the game. If you don't drop passes, you'll win the game. Now, they're probably going to drop a pass here or there. That's okay. It's just having 5 or 6 drops a game, like that takes you out of drives.
That's a killer for any team.
Yeah,
that's a killer for any team. That's like having 5 and 6 missed tackles. Where are those tackles at? Are they in the red zone? You just give up that's like having 5 or 6 missed, blown coverages. So you drop 5-6 passes, that's going to shoot you in the foot every single time. So this is the game where the Chiefs can't drop passes. They need to have a run game. They need to get somebody on the receiving side going to keep things alive and actually be a threat so they don't start stacking the box. Chargers don't put, 8 guys in the box knowing that they're going to run it because, and again, you're really only missing Josh Gordon on the offensive side. And essentially that's not missing anybody. If we're being honest, I'm so glad that he scored a touchdown last week. I'm glad I'm glad he's finally gotten in rhythm or gotten in the game or whatever you want to say about it. Yeah. The offense is great. It's the defensive side that everybody's worried about. But I also think this is going to be a huge game for special teams. I'm predicting that there's going to be either a punt return, a kick return, or a block.
Interesting.
I think for special teams, I think Dave Tobe dialed up something crazy. Who knows? I saw one of the guys in the chat earlier say this, and I think who knows? Maybe there's going to be a Tommy Townsend touchdown pass. Who knows?
That would be spectacular. That would be spectacular. If we saw Tommy Townsend out there throwing the rock and just hitting receivers.
Hey, he's got the highest passer rating on the Chiefs team right now.
I think you got to pull out all the stops. This is a game in which you pull out all the stops, but part of me is wondering what the turnover differential is going to be. Are you going to force any turnovers on defense? Are the Chargers going to give the ball up? I'm not sure because Justin Herbert throws some pick sixes. he's not inept to throwing interceptions. He
No,
does it a lot.
no.
And we still have our DBs for the most part. We're missing Snead and maybe Ward, but Fenton can pick the guy off. We know Tyrann Mathieu can.
Fenton definitely can play. Fenton is it's weird. The Chiefs cornerbacks are some of the most underappreciated yet overperforming. They're the most underappreciated and overperforming group of secondary that I can think of in the past 5 years. You know what I mean? Guys who don't get the big name love, they don't get the big contract love, but Charvarius Ward's the best cornerback in the NFL. L'Jarius Sneed is the second, is arguably our best corner, which is crazy to think when you have Charvarius on the same team. Just somebody who can do it all and always seems to perform and be in the right spot. And these guys get no love.
People don't know who any of these guys are.
Yeah. And Rashad Fenton. Rashad Fenton is quietly put together. The fact that these guys, hell, you get Charvarius Ward, who was actually projected not to even be drafted. And then the Chiefs took a flyer on him in the 6th round, turned out to be the best cornerback the last 2 or 3 years. You get Rashad Fenton.
6th round draft pick out of South Carolina.
Yeah, exactly.
I liked him from the beginning. I've been on the Rashad Fenton bandwagon for so long because he's so physical. And that's something that you need to see from a corner. And he's not a big guy, but he just kind of knows how to, that's kind of where Nick Bolton falls under. He's not a great athlete, but Nick Bolton knows how to play the game of football. Rashad Fenton knows how to play the game of football. And I think
knows how to play the game of football.
These guys aren't all world talents, but they figure it out.
Yeah. They don't get your spectacular Patrick Surtain the 2nd draft pick or your Asante Samuel Jr. draft pick, who also might not play today. He was questionable for the Chargers, so we'll see how that ends up. I'm assuming he'll probably play, but no, I think all in all, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game. I did say 11 points, which in some people's mind isn't close, but I'm also factoring in late time touchdowns. I'm factoring in different things to that.
It'll be a possession here and there, like a back and forth game that maybe a field goal or like a late touchdown to end it. But I agree with you.
And I think it's going to happen in the second half. I think the first half, Chiefs fans are going to be worried. I think they will. I think the Chiefs aren't necessarily going to blow the roof off in the first half. I think things are going to start opening up in the second half, and that's when points are going to start being scored. But I think the first half is going to give a lot of Chiefs fans a little anxiety. That's just kind of how the Chiefs have been playing this year.
I don't disagree. I hope we see an offense that comes out right away and just puts up points, but I think the first offensive drive, they're going to move the ball. I don't think they're going to put it in the end zone. Maybe they settle for 3, and I want to see how the defense first drive goes, because the defense comes out and just looks like the previous form. They're going to win the game. It's going to be a long day for the Chargers, and that would almost be miraculous given the fact that you're gone or that you're missing. You're arguably the best defensive tackle in the game of football right now. Chris Jones has been one of, if not the best defensive tackle in the game of football right now. Obviously, Aaron Donald is better. But Chris Jones has been on a ride. He's been phenomenal. Willie Gay has been phenomenal. You're missing 3 or 4 really good pieces to your defense. And if they come out and act like nothing ever happened, and you're still getting guys like Frank Clark and Melvin Ingram coming off the edge. And by the way, Melvin Ingram's going to have a little bit of a incentive to do well in this game because it's his former team.
Revenge game.
Exactly. This is going to be a revenge game. But if this defense comes out and looks exactly like they did last week, we're winning the Super Bowl. Someone had to say it. Somebody had to say it.
Someone had to say it.
Before the season started, and I know that we will address this at some point, probably in the playoffs, because I'm looking forward to the playoff stuff. And guys, hit that like button because we're going to get Sneeders back on here for those playoff videos. But I said this Chiefs team was going to be the best Chiefs team we've ever seen. They were going to win the Super Bowl. Now, I might have said that they were going to go 15-2. Might have been a little lapse in my judgment, but at the time,
that's okay. That's not a bad prediction. Hey, Patty said 20-0. So,
but I will say, I thought the defense was going to be top 10. They've been top 10. I thought that we were going to be able to secure that division. Looking good right now. You're going to get the 1 seed, still attainable. Like a lot of the stuff that I looked really, really stupid on to begin the season, starting to flip, starting to come true. And I'll tell you what, if the Chiefs get the 1 seed and they're at home, not a lot of teams want to come to Kansas City and play this Chiefs team right now.
No.
That
Especially
would be
after I truly do believe though that for the last 2 or 3 years, the aura, like I grew up in the deadliest time ever to come to Arrowhead Stadium. From that 2000s era to that
2010-ish.
Yeah, about a 10-year span.
Yeah.
Arrowhead was an absolute madhouse, and started to die off. And it maybe wasn't even 2010. Maybe it was even before that. Maybe the 2009. But it just started to dip. Teams started to lose. The fans weren't as in it because you go 2-14. Of course, they're not going to be fucking in it. All of a sudden, the past couple games that I've been to have been so freaking loud. And I was at the game where the Chiefs broke the all-time loudest stadium in the world record.
Gosh.
I was there. So I remember what that sounds like. And last week when we were at the game? 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago I was at the game. It was so loud. It reminded me of the good old days back when Priest Holmes was roaming the field with Tony Gonzalez and Willie Rofe and Trent Green and all those guys. It reminded me of that. So I think, and not that this is going to play a factor now, obviously, because this is a road game, but going forward,
it's Arrowhead West. We call it Arrowhead West.
Yeah, that's true. This is actually a home game for the Chiefs because the Chargers don't have. I'm convinced Chargers fans don't actually exist.
I've talked to one Chargers fan. He's on YouTube. I talked to one Chargers fan. There might be 10, like sitting in a room in some country just watching this game.
He's not a cardboard cutout?
I can confirm. Well, actually, I've never seen his face. He could be fake.
Oh, see? There you go. Not a real. He's a bot. It's a bot. Chalk it up to being a bot. But no, I think getting into the playoffs, it's going to be dangerous. I think Chiefs Kingdom is officially back.
Oh, for sure.
Or at least they're that close.
And like I said, no one wants to come to Arrowhead in January.
No.
And specifically the team that holds the 1 seed right now. You think Mac Jones wants to come to Kansas City and in January against this Chiefs team? I think our defense would kill him. I think he would die. I think we'd have to bury him in the parking lot. Like that's how bad he would be.
He would be buried in G36. Is where he'd be buried.
Up with Jordan Love's mom. He'd be up there. That's where we'd have to put him. That's where he's gonna be in that game. That's where his head's gonna be because it would be bad. But before we start talking about the playoff picture, that's all I have tonight. But honestly, it should be a really good game. I think that we're gonna see hopefully our offense rebound and our defense if they come out and play like anything they have the past 6 or 7 weeks. This team is gonna be incredible. But Blake, with that being said, where can the people find you?
Well, you've done a good job of helping me out with putting my Twitter link right here. It's Wake in Blake 29. Wake in Blake 29. You can find me on the Twitter sphere. I am on there pretty much all the time, tweeting nothing but sports or anything that comes to my brain that I feel needs to be heard by the masses. So that's pretty much the best content you can find me on. For all of you fight fans out there, shameless plug, I'm about to put this out.
Good.
All of you fight fans out there, if you guys like MMA or UFC or any type of mixed martial arts, me and my buddy Josh, we do an MMA podcast called B Cut MMA. So if you go to YouTube and type in BCUT MMA B Cut, you can actually find all of our videos there. We're you know what? I'm going to give you guys a little taste. We actually just worked out a little deal with Sports Radio 810 to where we are trying to have a new podcast up on their platform as well. So hopefully we can get things up and running. The last fight of the year, I believe, is next weekend, and then there's not a fight for about a month. But starting 2022, we're going to be pumping out content, new studio, new cameras, new everything. Going to be a good time. So if you guys enjoy that, go check us out over there at BCut MMA. BCut MMA on YouTube. Check me out at Wake and Blake. Michael put this on up here for me. Check Michael Darcy out at the Kansas City Sports Report. He's the freaking man. He's pumping out shit all the time. Also, quick little shout out to Lucas Murphy.
Exactly. Give the boy Lucas a little shout out here. We're
going to give Lucas a shout out. Why would we not? You know,
exactly.
Kansas City reps Kansas City, and we got to support everybody out here on the Spear. So shout out to Lucas Murphy at the Beat of KC on Twitter and on YouTube. So yeah, just that's where you can find all our shit.
And you know, I might be the producer of that show, so stick a lookout for it on 810.
Well, I didn't even talk about that. So Michael might actually be our new producer. Not might. He will be the new producer.
I've already been signed on. So
for our new MMA show, we are actually kind of in the middle of changing names. It was B-Cut. It's gonna stay B-Cut for YouTube purposes, but it might switch over to either the Octagon Chronicles or what was the other one we're coming up with? Something MMA. I don't know. We're still in the process of it, but we're gonna have in the progress. We're gonna have a new name, and Darcy's gonna be the producer for that show. So keeping it all in the family here. The family that plays together stays together, boys.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Except for the incest.
Go check me out on Twitter. That's at KC Sports Report. Instagram is KC_Sports Report. Go check out the website. That's KCSportsReport.com. I got to put out more stuff on that. Go check out my work on KC Kingdom. That's where Lucas is actually the head editor over there. So shout out to Lucas.
Yeah.
With that being said, with all the incest aside, we are going to end this live stream. I will be here after the game, and go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.